There we go.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we can just dive on into Finola Hughes's debut novel, Soapsuds. Just, a really quick across the room, what were people's thoughts on it all summed up? Amber, I know you're probably dying to say something.
It was not my favorite book, and I love Finola Hughes. So
But perfectly fine opinion, which we'll get into. I'm sure you have reasons you can explain to us.
mhm.
Can I follow that? It was the tale was kind of stagnant. Like I don't know. I felt like I was watching a soap opera. Well, it is a soap, but it's like a soap opera. Like, where is this going? Okay, that's a tease there.
The story in the story was nice. I'll give it that.
hmm
Lisa, Barb, you guys want to throw anything out?
No, I was just curious about it all.
Oh.
Now, I didn't get to read it all, but from what I read, it seemed to be yeah, I guess a soap within a soap, but if I read this correctly, from what I read of it, was it like behind the scenes as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I actually found that part interesting.
Like we're getting a taste behind the scene what really goes on. With
Right.
wardrobe,
Yes.
what's it called, makeup.
Mm-hmm. The
Well,
other people involved in the show
I,
behind the scenes.
I have to say, all in all, I really enjoyed the book. My issue with the book is, of course, Amber and I have been covering it for about the past month, doing articles for the website. And, it had, or it seemed to have a very specific plot, which was going to be Kate being mistaken for a lesbian, like the character she played. And that was going to really mess with her dating life and really mess with her life outside the studio. But to me, the big issue was, as Amber and Sandra have pointed out, it was very episodic. It was, this happened today, this happened the next day, the next week. And to me, it didn't seem like we got really to the point or to the plot till maybe the last 10 chapters. So that was I felt it was promoted wrong. If they would have said, this is going to be the diary entries of a soap star or
That would
episodes in the life, but I was expecting that plot of, okay, how is this going to affect her personal life? And it didn't really seem to at all.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did the guy ever come back for the dogs? Because I swear I missed that part.
No.
Like just left her with 4 dogs and like just disappeared.
Yeah.
But then we didn't really hear about the dogs after that.
Yeah, she kept them. She kept all 4 of them. He went to Canada and never heard from Mark again.
I remember that one part I read said, I don't give a shit about seeing my wife, but I do have to walk my dog. That was funny.
Well, I will say I was very happy, that Kate was a, dog and cat fan. She took care of all of those animals, even though it really wasn't up to her to do. So that was very, that was good of her. I'd like to go around the room and ask for the people that read all of it or half of it
or even 3 pages of it.
Yeah. What did you all think of Kate? Was this somebody you'd want to be friends with?
That's a good question. I probably would, but
she's too gossipy for me.
But I think some of the feelings I probably would, if I have some like ill regard feelings, I probably wouldn't shut up and nut up because I really Yeah, she seems like like a complex character to me.
Hmm.
Were you gonna say the B word?
No, 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 I don't. Unless I'm so angry, I'll go ahead and throw it out there, but no. I You'll rarely see me curse. But yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I-
going back to that, some of the stuff that she throws out, and I'm sorry, my probably as my education, I had to find out what she spew out, like some of the words, like, oh, let me look at the dictionary for that. What does that mean? Because some of them are, well, majority of them were British, British slangs. I'm like, oh my God, what's that? What does this mean? What does that mean?
I have to say, I started out the first half of the book absolutely adoring her. And
Hmm.
then when they started hinting that she was going to go after a married man after having been cheated on, I have to say I was messaging Amber saying, I cannot believe this woman. I did disparage her. And
Especially
then
since it's
luck,
like right after she sees her ex and the pregnant
yeah.
girlfriend who used to be her best friend, and then she's like chasing a married man. I'm like,
Oh, and as when her, like, let's say if her birthday was going to come around, I could buy her some thongs so that way she won't get wet, you know.
So, but I do have to say, luckily, towards the end, she surprised me. She didn't have
Mm.
the affair. She turned him down, pushed him back towards his wife. Of course, the soap opera fan in me was horrified at that ending because I thought, what happens next? Can that marriage survive? Would Kate and Wyatt get together? So I have to say, if Finola ever wants to do that sequel, I'll at least read it. I don't think Amber will, but I'll read it.
I wonder if it was based on any one certain person or maybe a
right?
few certain people.
Well, certainly the Daphne, who was the executive producer of the show, she was certainly an amalgamation of people that Finola either knew or worked with. Gloria Monty, if anybody knows who that is, executive producer of the hospital for years. Certainly a lot of Gloria was in that character. But absolutely, I'm with you, Barb. I was desperate to find out, who those fictional characters were supposed to represent in Finola's life. I didn't quite peg anybody else, but I certainly knew who Daphne was.
Oh, Daphne, I kind of like just let it out, let your feelings out, just let it out, you
And I'm
know.
so sorry, Lisa. I looked up at Barb's name and said Barb instead
Oh,
of Lisa.
that's okay. That's no worries. I'm easy going, no worries. But I knew I just had a feeling it had to be like based on different people.
It has
But
Oh
I
yeah.
to.
was and I want to go and actually maybe I didn't like I said, I didn't read it all, but what I read, I'm thinking, I wonder if it's based on So I want to read the entire book and see if I could actually figure it out.
Well, of course, the vampires. Of course, there was Port Charles, spinoff
Oh yeah.
General Hospital that had vampires.
Yes.
But I also thought perhaps Finola was thinking about the time Casey the alien was on General Hospital. That
Oh my
was
gosh, yes. And I'm old enough. I watched that. I'm old enough to remember all that. So
If they were, I thought it was.
um,
Oh,
oh,
we lost
did
someone.
anybody, Amber, did you want to throw anything else about the possibly behind the scenes or anything?
I just want okay. Um, I need to know who her friend Travis was based on because he is a gossipy king and I loved him. Like,
I'm glad you brought him up. Trent, the co-star she was always in
Trent.
the dressing
Did I
room
say
with.
Travis?
Uh,
Trent.
well, just like Lisa, I totally I knew what you were meaning.
Oh
No
my
worries.
God. I don't
Um,
remember anything. I just
I
finished
have to
reading it. How
say,
do I forget names? I
up
also need to know who Meredith was based on, because whoever that is, I want to be her friend.
up until the end of that book, I kept thinking, please tell me that Kate and Trent are going to figure out they're perfect for each other and get together.
Right? They were so
Maybe
cute.
that can be the plot of the sequel.
Right? Yeah, I need to know who Meredith is based on. And that I'll lose sleep over it. Because
And because there was a scene where Kate went to what's his name? Kirk? I forgot his name. There were so many characters. She went to his house or his apartment, and like he was kind of like reluctant. He just I guess he was like he sounded like he was busy doing something, and I know that I'm trying to I did a note there. I'm trying to find it, but yeah, they were supposed to go out on a date, and he kind of like shoo her away, thinking maybe what's her name,
Meredith.
Meredith was there probably,
Yeah.
and that he was still seeing Meredith. And yeah, I was just like, okay, what was that all about?
yeah, she's supposed to go on a date and goes to his change room and he's like opening the door crack.
Yeah, it was a funny scene there. I was like, okay. Uh,
Since a lot of us here are General Hospital fans, perhaps other soap fans too, I have to say the fact that Kate's character's name was Devin Merrick, like Dimitri
oh
Merrick,
yeah, I was thinking the
I
last
love
name.
that.
Mhm.
Wait,
Like,
was there a
isn't it?
character named that on General Hospital before my time?
Uh, there was a Dimitri Merrick on All My Children that
Children, yeah.
Alex, Anna's twin sister, was involved in or involved
Uh,
with. And I wanted to bring that up because there was one of my favorite little asides in the book is where she's talking about, fans just have to try and make the show make sense sometimes. And I certainly thought about that because, of course, Dimitri and Alex on All My Children, they were a super couple. Alex was a good girl. She was a heroine. And then cut to her on General Hospital. She's a villainous spy
Yeah.
that tries to kill Anna. And you think, okay, how does that one make sense? Let me try to.
okay, I have to deal with my dog for a second. Hold on.
I will also have to say, Amber and Sandra will back me up. I did think it was quite funny. And Finola must be a little bit psychic because how did she know that there was going to be so many problems recasting Nicholas on General Hospital? There were so many Nicholases on the show that she wrote about. Now we've had 3-4 Nicholases on General
I
Hospital.
know, just like Molly's. Hey, that's another topic there
Yeah,
that I will.
that's a whole other subject.
Yeah. But I guess, the problem is they're probably not selling the drama, selling the hurt, selling the rage, selling the hunger, selling the love.
And I wonder what's going to happen now. Like, I'm not sure how far these days General Hospital writes or tapes ahead, but now the writer's strike has been settled. And I wonder what's going to happen to these storylines that are currently in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
we're going back to Snail Tales, where it'll take another 3 years for it to finally get solved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but listen, while the writers coming back might be not great for General Hospital speed, it is good for B&B because if I listen to the same conversation one more time on Bold and the Beautiful, I'm going to cry. Okay.
Well, speaking of writers, I found it very interesting that they were non-entities in Finola's book. It was
Yeah, she
Daphne
was
the
really talking
executive,
with them.
and I think we got maybe 2-3 lines the whole time about the writers. I found that very interesting. So I just wonder if perhaps over at General Hospital Finola's used to the executive producer sort of running the show, and perhaps the writers over there, answer to the executive producer a little more than other soaps, perhaps. I found that interesting.
My favorite
And
part of
go ahead.
the book was the casting of the one daughter.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And like
Well,
she
yes,
tried so hard to fight it, and like it sort of is what it was. And that's just the way it was gonna be.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, that Tootsie inspired ending of the live show with, the dialogue coming in on cell phones and all of those big shots. Now that I think alone was worth the purchase of the book. That was
fun.
And it was so soapy, of course. What was it? I believe the niece or something was really the daughter, played by Meredith's real life daughter. I mean, only in the world of soap opera.
How many times they go off script? There was a lot of times in that book that they had a script and they just went off the script.
Yeah. Well, again, that's, the classical actors from General Hospital, Finola, Tony Geary, Tristan Rogers, they always talk about Gloria Monty, who was the executive producer, just really allowing them to riff, to just make it up as they go in the scene. So
certainly son para ustedes.
Muy bien, gracias.
Ok, y les veo otra vez ¿cuándo es?
Será en 3 semanas de hoy, creo. Octubre, ¿qué?
Sí, el 18.
I have so many. I do wonder, does it take anybody out when reading or watching these, supposedly fictional things, and then they'll bring in people from the real world? Or do you like that? Because I thought it was very funny that actually, Anthony Geary, Nancy Lee Grahn were mentioned. General Hospital was a real show they were competing against. Do you like that sort of, almost fourth wall breaking, or does it take you out of it?
In this book, it was fun because this book was like all about soap operas. And I think it was cute that she was competing against a real life soap opera. Plus the whole Emmy scene was like perfect. Because that would happen to me. I've been in an award stuck in traffic too. Like,
how upsetting, you win, your rival accepts. That was so Betty Davis, Joan Crawford. Loved it.
That was so Kanye and Taylor.
Thank you for the updated reference, Amber. We need those updated references.
There was a part that I laughed at, but then I was like asking myself, what? On the book was, at this time I had amnesia, he says softly, his eyes bored into my soul. I was completely disoriented in the place and time. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was. The only thing I could remember was how much I loved you.
And it's usually the love they forget, isn't
like
it?
That to me.
I'm like, huh? Wait a minute, you just contradicted yourself there. You didn't know who you were, but you remember that you love me? Okay.
Someone saying that.
Totally the complete opposite of, say, Ned's amnesia. He remembers nothing, especially not his love for poor Olivia.
That is authentic.
There's a huge debate going on about that whole storyline. Because like, if his wife, like, because they're married, falls in love with a new persona, is it cheating? Is it cheating?
Oh yeah, that's a
I
hard
mean,
one
it
there.
still is him. It's just an alternate personality.
Now,
Now-
Mary.
Now, here's a question, where we're sitting here, debating very interesting storyline from General Hospital of today. Would we, collective we, who would be interested in actually watching the soap opera that Kate starred in? Did that seem like a show you actually would? It seemed very Passions to me, which
No, I
Passions
was just thinking that when you said that.
Yeah, I was
If
gonna say,
I-
I think we've seen it.
Now, if I had to deliver, a fan, I'm off. Oops. Am I echoing?
It'll be
Just a little.
Let me turn it off and then turn it back on.
Are we all echoing?
No,
I'm echoing too.
are you? Am I echoing?
Okay. No, I am. Too. But
Well,
yeah, if
we
I
need
had
to
to
do a
say,
little bit.
if I had to do a fan reaction, yes, I would have to. I would watch it.
I don't think there's enough vampires in soap operas. So
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
there needs to be more vampires on soap operas.
Oh, I miss poor Charles.
And all of them dressing like Kardashians.
I'm gonna try to mute everyone and then unmute everyone and see if that fixes the echoing. Did that work?
Hello.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
I'm a genius.
I think it's me.
Not
Let me leave and then come back.
Okay, try that. Is it still echoing now?
Nope.
Now the curse is gone. No, I'm kidding. I love her.
You gotta love technology. I always say it's supposed to make our lives easier, but I sometimes wonder.
That's because we were talking about Passions and poor Charles. That's what happened there.
Haunted
And
shows.
there's a full moon coming, so I blame it on all three.
I do have to say, I wasn't the biggest fan of Passions, and yet I never missed an episode of Port Charles once those vampires came on.
Okay,
Never.
I loved Passions except Charity. Okay, if Charity got stuck in one more well, I would have literally ripped my hair out. I don't know how many places you can get stuck, but like it was like watching like an episode of Lassie, but like forever. Like she was constantly stuck in a well or a sheet of ice or
hell in a closet, like
hell in a
happens
closet,
all the
right?
time.
Like, but then you have Teresa, who is so wildly entertaining. It just made up the Teresa and Gwen feud. That was a good feud. And then there's little Timmy, and you can't fault little Timmy for anything.
Rest in peace, little Timmy.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad you made a mention of something like that. Did they ever introduce any feuds into the fictional soap opera? I mean, perhaps Meredith and Devin weren't buddy.
Well, there's Meredith and her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Meredith and her daughter were in a big feud because of the husband sleeping with the daughter. That's when she was 14. That's great. And then they had to age her up to 18 because they were like, whoops. Probably shouldn't have a 14-year-old sleeping with a grown man. And then, so there was that feud. That weird feud.
True. That wonderful soap opera rapid aging syndrome that sometimes I think it can be good for a show. Other times, I think there's something to be said for letting the children actually grow in real time.
Okay, listen. I have lived through a lot of Sorazed kids, but so help me if they try to Soraz Douglas on Bold and the Beautiful. So help me.
Excuse
I
me,
love,
today they're 5, tomorrow they're 12, and then like
I
Mhm.
love
5 years later they're
Douglas.
21.
I love
And you know
Douglas
what?
so much.
I know. And you know what though? I love that they never did that with Robin.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
And
And
Faith,
Kathy.
Faith from Young and the Restless, she got to age normally until like she went off to school herself.
Hmm.
They recast.
True. True.
I wish I could say Cassie, but no.
Oh, I
But she
know.
came back as Mariah. I mean, the actress
She
did come
came back
back,
at the
but she was,
right age.
yeah.
Well, since we're talking about, soap opera rapid aging syndrome and all of those things, I'm interested to know what is y'all's favorite soap trope? I'm personally very fond of amnesia. I love an amnesia storyline, except for Ned's. There's always an exception.
Who's the daddy? I love the Who's
Mm.
the Daddy. I also especially love when there's a Who's the Daddy and another pregnant person and the baby swap happens. It's like my
The
favorite thing.
cheating, the cheating, because, you know, I love to see that the drama will blow up on their face.
Hmm.
Just like Kyle did when he was sleeping with Audra, then, Summer
When
found
somebody
out.
gets pregnant and they know who the baby dad is, I get really upset about it. I'm like, well, that's boring. Like, unless that baby's gonna get stolen later, I don't
I,
I don't want to see you happy during your pregnancy, birth, and like right after. No.
And they didn't have anything like that in the Finola's book, the Saurus or something
Mhm.
that
well, I have to say, I'm also very fond of A Back from the Dead. And just as in Finola's book, I love A Back from the Dead plus plastic surgery.
Hmm.
Yes.
I have to tell you, as has happened a lot in soaps like General Hospital, I get tickled when they do A Back from the Dead with plastic surgery, but then later down the line, they bring the original actor back
I have to
and they don't
explain
talk
it.
about the plastic surgery anymore.
Right.
Sheila as a
Sheila.
prime example.
Duke on General Hospital, we kill him, get another Duke, regular Duke. Well, at least they did say, I think they said the other Duke was an imposter, but I still
Oh,
count that a little bit. My favorite's Max from One Life to Live, if anybody ever watched that.
oh God, that was so long. I remember Max, but I don't remember that storyline. I remember Max and Luna.
Yes.
Adam Newman
Yes,
was
Gabriel
played by
Bingham.
Justin Hartley, and they had to talk about the plastic surgery. But then Justin Hartley left, and Mark Rossman comes on, and they don't talk about nothing. That's just his face now.
Yep.
We just wildly accept it. It's fine. That's just the way it is. But not only did Justin Hartley change Adam's face, he changed his height. And nobody talked
That
about it.
happened. And you know what? That happened when Julie Berman left, and then I can't think of her name, and then they recast. I'm sorry, I can't think of her name.
Emma
Lulu.
Ryland. Emma Ryland.
Emma, right, Riley. Is that her name? And then she was like so much shorter than not that I should talk, I'm short. But they didn't mention anything about that.
Yeah, like there's like a noticeable height difference. And they're
Yes.
just like, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, didn't what's her name? Kate had an accident. Oh no, that was her character. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, all right, all right. No, her husband left her. She moved to the US. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking I was like like thinking about it right now. Oh, no, I don't want to get confused. So like it all came back to me.
Oh, and
You
the
know,
scenes with her going to the fan events and how I've been to fan events, and that was mild compared to some stuff I've seen at fan events. Like And the fans in the book were a little bit crazy, but that's nothing sometimes. Okay. Like some stuff happens at fan events with people just
maybe Finola's really only had those positive experiences that she wrote about.
I stood in a line to see Eric Braeden, like, and the fans were crying, screaming, crying, physically crying.
Mm-hmm.
And he was nice to all of them. And the one woman almost fainted. She got so overwhelmed. And then poor Christian LeBlanc, when I saw him, this lady walked, I just want to give you a little kiss. And he's like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. Right?
Oh.
She was like leaning over the table and he was like, oh, you're so sweet. Right? Like, thank you for coming.
Yeah, and the thing is that some people forget that they are actors.
Yeah.
They're real people. They're I was gonna say they're like us, but they are. They're humans and they're like us. And all of a sudden they're in the spotlight, and some people can't differentiate between the characters and the
I will say though.
Oh, but that reminds me of I was watching an old episode of Friends the other night, and when Joey becomes Dr. Drake Ramore, and Brooke Shields was on, and she was stalking him, and they went to the restaurant, and she's like, and somebody on the show's like, we need a doctor, and she's like, here's the best doctor ever, Dr. Drake Ramore.
There was a woman at the fan event with Eric Braeden. He did like a photo shoot with fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
She came in a wedding dress. And I was like, oh, that's such a good idea.
Wow.
Like crazy, of course, but also that was a missed opportunity that I will regret for the rest of my life.
I would have loved to have had a picture of that.
I was like, that was so smart. Like, if you're gonna do a photo op with the soap star, like, make it count.
I also have. Oh no, we're back to
that happened.
Let's see, did that 60? No. Again, the wonderful technology.
Are we all echoing? Fun times.
Let's see. Are we still echoing now? Nope. Okay, I think we got it. Well, going back a little bit to an earlier point, I'm sorry, I don't remember who brought it up, but I did find it very interesting to see or to read really how much of Finola herself that she put into the character of Kate. Having gone from Britain to the US, there was the little line about starring in Cats. Of course, Finola was the white cat in the original production.
The Taylor Swift cat.
Possibly, I can't say that I watched the new Cats. So.
Oh wow, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan at all. I've only mentioned her like 17 times. Taylor Swift was in Cats, by the way.
Oh,
no, I think it's cute that she used so many British terms and British slang, and that was adorable. That was cute.
Well, as as Meredith said, excuse me, my throat's all scratched. Excuse me, sorry. Meredith has two rules as I was reading: know your place and stay in it.
Oh, the
Just like that
skincare.
just like Taylor Swift and her cats. You're a singer, stay as a singer. You're not an actress. I know, I'm sorry, Amber, if I touch.
Girl, do you just like not want to be friends anymore? Because I will fight you physically. Oh yeah, my other favorite part is how Meredith gave her the gift basket of like all her QVC products, and she just puts it in her trunk and leaves it there. And the entire book, every time she opens her trunk, there's the gift basket.
And then, of course, we had the Barbie doll in her image that burned poor Kate's house down.
Yeah, that's karma. It's for me and
Oh. And then, of course, that I'm loath to admit this, but I will say I did slightly go down a rabbit hole trying to see how many soap actresses have a Barbie doll in their image. I found Deidre Hall and Susan Lucci. Those are the only two I found.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember
Does
that.
Melody Thomas Scott not have one? Elizabeth Taylor also I have a Barbie of Elizabeth Taylor in the house right now as we speak. Elizabeth Taylor has one.
Do we
and
count
you know
her
what?
as a soap
You know
star,
what?
though,
If you
Amber?
really think about it, that character could have been Elizabeth Taylor.
Well.
Yeah.
And I mean, Elizabeth Taylor did originate the role of Helena Cassadine.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm just saying she's a known diva. She sleeps with everybody. She had like 7 or 8 husbands.
Oh, Meredith's poor husband. I mean, can you imagine getting those phone calls at all hours of the day at her beck and call? Oh, I don't think we ever met him once in the book, but I felt so sorry for him. It's just like those off-screen characters on soaps. You hear about them so much, you kind of come to care about them in a way.
Yeah.
Like Cook on General Hospital. I'm always worried, what is 4th or 5th Cook up to at this point?
Very true.
True.
The Abbott family current housekeeper.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen Mrs. Martinez, have we?
No, never, not once.
Mm-mm.
I could have sworn there was when Sally Sussman took over. After when PMP, Pratt, and Phelps were terminated, I guess. Sussman came over, did the writing, and I think there was a Miss Martinez.
Oh.
And when she was, I kind of like to have a little flashback in my back of my head where I think there was a Miss Martinez who served the Abbotts.
Is that when Jack was trying to date the scientist chick?
Dominique? Yeah.
Well, Sandra, I'm so glad you brought up Jill Farron Phelps. I also felt that perhaps there was a little bit of her in the Daphne character.
Oh yeah.
I also, since they said when they first introduced the character of Daphne that she had actually created soap operas, I also thought maybe there's a little Agnes Nixon in there. I'm not sure if Finola knew Agnes or just knew of her, but so I think those 3, Agnes, Jill, and Gloria Monty, were certainly inspirations for that character.
Going back to the Jack, who's dating Dominique. I think that was the time with Mal came into the picture because they had Dominique and the Rosales. And then I think that's when Tony and Griffith came in, and that's when Dominique was like the first one to be gone a Mal Young casualty.
It was that whole storyline was just awkward.
Well, I mean, at least it wasn't, vampires running around and
You're talking to like a Twilight fan. You can give me all the vampires. Can they sparkle?
Did anybody read in the book vampires aside, felt a lot of it was just so. I mean, certainly Kate had hard knocks, but it just felt everything was so coincidental and always came out in her favor. Yes, her house burnt down, but then she immediately, a day later, found the perfect new house for her.
With a
Just-
yard and everything.
And what about
I mean-
her friend Sophie? Did her friend Sophie ever came back in the picture? I didn't go that far. Her friend, remember, her mom said that I had to tell Sophie that she's pretty because her mom's a drug addict, and
No, we never did. We never did
I
hear
don't think
anything else
so.
about her. No.
Now, I'll admit that I was right into the book at the beginning, and then somewhere in the middle it lost me. And then I sort of sped through the rest of it. So yeah, I missed the parts.
Well, I did too. So.
I should say, she always tells her mom always tells Kate, well, you're Irish. Like you're Irish. And she's like, I have to tell Sophie that she's pretty because her mom's a druggie and her dad, she's with her abusive boyfriend, just to keep her in a positive track.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. Still, you could have said something really, encouraging, really positive, something
Right.
positive.
Right. Because that definitely, as we saw in the book, that did not help Kate's confidence in the least as she grew older.
I have a dog sleeping on my lap, and she's getting wildly uncomfortable. She's only 11 pounds, but it's 11 pounds of heavy when she gets sleeping. My 11-pound dog turns into a 50-pound dog real quick.
I have to say, if Finola ever decides, because it has been quite a few years since the publication of this book, if we ever do get that sequel, I have to say that what I really hope to see, I don't want to see her pursuing White, the married man. Perhaps if him and Christine divorce, perfectly all right with it then.
Wife dies, it's fine. It's a soap.
Right. I hope she still has the 4 dogs and the cat, and they're all coexisting.
And the dog.
And I really want to see more of her friendship with Sandra the barista. I felt that was
so cute.
Right. And then they just sort of, kind of forgot it. Once she got her as her gal Friday, I think there was maybe 3 or 4 mentions for the rest of the book. And I thought, no, be good friends.
And bring Sophia back in the picture, maybe like she has so much animosity towards Kate because she got the breaks and she got, she's a successful person and she's struggling, trying to make a name for herself, a struggling musician or an actress or something of that nature.
Sandra, what we're gonna do, we're gonna push Mr. Digby Dale, and you can be Finola's co-writer on the next book because that's a brilliant idea.
Also Amber.
Am.
In the book.
Of course.
She needs to win Best Actress.
Yeah.
And maybe bring back
and actually get to give
Daphne.
a speech and bask in the limelight.
And Daphne, who's poor down in her luck now, trying to get back into the scene, but she just hits these roadblocks and then finally
Yes, it was very interesting to hear towards the end of the book that the soap opera was the #1 soap opera. Again, with the vampires and some of the other storylines, I found that hard to believe. Port Charles was never #1, even though perhaps maybe it could have been. So it would be interesting, if we got a sequel to see, okay, is the show still on top? Is it down at the bottom? Maybe a streaming only soap like Days of Our Lives is now. That would be. We'll just round robin some ideas to try to get them Finola's way, and maybe that'll push her into writing the sequel.
Was it called Live for Tomorrow or
Live for Tomorrow? Yes.
Live for
Yeah.
Tomorrow had
Yeah.
the ratings declined, so PBO decided to cancel the soap opera, and she just trying to find success outside the soap opera industry, maybe dig
Oh,
into reality where so far it's been unsuccessful, and then finally she has this one break where she creates a show and it's just like the ratings are just huge, monstrous, and she finds success again. Yay!
And we also, I have to know Meredith's story. Do they finally get rid of Meredith?
they're
Does
not.
she, can she maybe grow a little, become less
She's a
villain?
grown woman. She is who she is.
Meredith's had breast cancer, and
Meredith's perfect. Don't come for my Meredith.
well, Meredith had a little bout with her life on her own. She had breast cancer,
You'd
and
be
and
bitchy too if you've had to carry a show on your back for 40 years, Garen.
and what was it? The
Well and
two
truly paid.
dimwits. The
Do you,
two dimwits that you remember, was it Tiffany or I forgot? They were blonde and
Tiffany and Amber.
Yeah.
oh,
Thanks for
yeah. After their
representation.
after their soap got canceled, they just they hit a few roadblocks and decided to go to porn. Which
Oh,
Well,
no. Yeah.
according to Finola's description, they,
Hold on. I'm having technical difficulties with my dog.
oh no.
Okay, come on. Come on. She's warm now.
Well,
She just got
oh.
home and they took her fur. So she's bald and naked now and she feels cold all the time.
I'd bring her husband in the picture in the sequel.
He's a Shih Tzu
Her ex.
who ran through way too many burr bushes. And so we had to shape her down and she feels unclothed.
That's
Oh.
Artie, right?
Oh, but cute face.
She's the best. But when she doesn't have fur, she gets very, very aggressively, violently snuggly. And she wants it her way. So she goes and hides under blankets until she's warm. And then she comes out of her little oven, also pretty violently.
Oh, and Kate has another dog, a Shih Tzu named Arlie R.
No.
Oh yeah, I have a
Arlie,
little Pomeranian named Arlie. She's so cute. She
Arlie
just
May,
celebrated her
dog.
8 years with me, her 8th adoption anniversary. Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Well.
celebrated by screaming at me for lunch, So that's nice.
Well, I have just had a wonderful time visiting with you all, and
This
we've
is
come up with a perfect sequel. So we're gonna have to figure out how to make this happen.
I was gonna say, kind of wonder too if that really happens. I'm pretty sure it does. Where the makeup room, where they call it the gossip room or something. I'm
Would
thinking,
you
I
not want
wonder.
to work in there though? If you were working on a soap opera, would you not want to be in the makeup room?
Oh yeah, I would. Yes, that's where the drama is.
Mhm.
Like,
Did
all
she
hail the makeup people. Like, screw being friends with the stars. I want to be friends with your makeup artist. I want the tea.
And the costume designers.
Yes, Sandra, don't forget the costume designers.
I'm feeling makeup.
No, but the
Like,
costume designers can also lend us clothing.
oh yeah, that's right. You're right there. I
Right?
forgot.
And
Yep.
you'd be surprised what all the behind the scenes people know or pick up.
Oh yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
want. I want the tell-all book from the gopher.
Yes.
Who
Is
saw
there a
them
soap
and
opera?
they treat like they're invisible. That's who I want writing the tell-all book.
Is there a
Yeah.
book
Even
like
the
that out
people
there?
even the people who set up the craft service table.
Oh yeah.
Who they treat like aren't even there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I want tell-all books by. I don't need a tell-all book from a star who's going to hide the secrets. I need the lunch guy and the
Yeah.
makeup lady and the wardrobe department.
Absolutely. 100% with that.
Yeah.
All the tea.
Sandra, we're gonna have to look into that.
Keep the initials, but change the name.
Call it like behind the scene, behind the
Good too.
drama.
Yep.
You know, something that's behind, you know, keyword behind.
Mhm. Because they know everything and they have
Oh, yes.
I bet they gossip too.
They'll know who's doing what with who.
I know they
Mhm.
gossip.
They'll know what all the good feuds are. They'll know about the divorce before we know 3 years later. They'll already know.
Absolutely.
They'll know. Yeah, I would like a tell-all from like a makeup artist on a soap opera set.
Oh, yes.
Well, wasn't the getting back to books though, wasn't the person who wrote, I can't think of her name either. I guess I'm just having brain fog or something. The person who wrote The Devil Wears Prada,
Yeah.
she really did. Yes.
That
That's
was
what we
behind
need.
the scenes with Anna, what's her name? Anna
Wintour.
yeah.
Wintour, yeah. That's what we need for the soaps.
Yes.
Well, there's like Ladies Who
Absolutely.
Punch that did like the behind the scene thing of The View.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
That was
Oh,
a
yeah.
good book. That was juicy. But I need one for the soap operas. I don't think
Mhm.
we had to find, can you imagine behind the scenes of Passions or like the Edge of the Night?
Oh,
Edge of Night. Oh my God, that takes me back. That's one of the first ones I ever watched.
Oh my
Edge of
God,
Night.
behind the scenes of All My Children.
mm,
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah, I
yeah.
would pay money for that. Yep. And also like reality shows, like 19 Kids and Counting. Some of the kids have written books. I need the camera guy.
Oh, yeah.
I need the
Yeah.
camera guy to write a
Yeah.
book. Tell me all this stuff.
I think we've all come up with a book now. Maybe we should all collaborate.
Yes.
And I wonder, maybe in the next sequel, is the mom still a junkie or is she cleaned up? Did she clean up and did she get rid of her abusive boyfriend? Oh no, that's right. She's in prison. She she killed her abusive boyfriend in self-defense, but the jury didn't buy that. That's in the sequel.
Think
Well,
Finola will write a sequel?
I-
You think Finola might write a sequel?
Well, it has been some time, but perhaps now. Sadly, we reached out to her and was hopeful we could have her here today, but she was actually filming all day today and couldn't quite make it work. But we were told she seemed very happy that we were discussing the book. So perhaps, now that she's been reminded, and she knows people are interested, perhaps.
Let's get that sequel in the
Right.
works.
Right.
Let's get it in the works.
but like less script and more twisty and turny.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would like to see the twists and turns being Kate's life, not in the script. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the fire was a good twist, but then she found a house the next day. Nah. Like I want to
Right. Yeah. A little less coincidence in
sleep
the
in
next
the car for a week, fall in love with the homeless guy down the street. Have a little love affair.
Now that's soapy.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Right?
Well, this has just been great getting to visit with you all and talk about the book and talk about soaps. Hopefully we'll, get to do this again somehow, some way.
Finola, if you're
bring it-
watching this ever, we loved your book and we'll go straight your next one.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Well, it was wonderful talking to y'all, and I guess
Thank you
we'll
so
wrap
much.
it.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you, Lisa. We're so glad you jumped in and
So
talked with us.
It was fun.
You're up.
I
It was
always
fun, yes.
love these.
Hopefully
I
we
loved
get
it. I
some more
enjoyed
fireside
myself.
chats.
I did too.
Bye,
I hope
everybody.
everyone has,
Bye.
good night. I hope everyone has a great
Good night,
weekend.
everybody.
You too.
Bye.